The arrival of unwanted guests. The salvage station orbiting the dead moon of Kepler 442 wasn't much to look at. Sarah Martinez had built it from scrap over 15 years, one welded plate at a time, turning cosmic garbage into something resembling civilization. The station housed 43 souls, mostly humans who'd run from something or toward nothing, and they all depended on her keeping the lights on. So when 3 warships bearing the crimson and silver of the Valerian Collective dropped out of hyperspace without warning, Sarah's first thought wasn't fear. It was anger. Warships meant trouble, and trouble meant expenses she couldn't afford. A warrior's shame. She met them in the docking bay, still wearing her maintenance suit, oil stains on her sleeves. The delegation that emerged from the lead ship moved like dancers, tall and graceful, their silver skin catching the harsh station lights. The Valorians were famous across 7 sectors as the greatest warriors in known space. They lived for honor, died for glory, and measured worth in battle scars. The leader stopped 3 paces away. He was massive, nearly 7 feet tall, his body covered in the ritual scars that marked a champion. But his eyes held something Sarah recognized immediately: desperation. "I am War Master Keldon, First Blade of the Crimson Fleet," he announced, his voice carrying the weight of authority. "I seek an audience with Station Master Martinez." "You're looking at her," Sarah said, crossing her arms. "What do you want?" The impossible request. Keldon's jaw tightened. Behind him, his warriors shifted uncomfortably. "I come to negotiate sanctuary," he said carefully. "For my daughter." Sarah blinked. "Your what?" "My daughter, Lyra. She is unsuited for Valerian life. The council has decreed she must enter the blood trials or face exile. I choose exile for her. I choose your station." "Hold on." Sarah raised a hand. "Why my station?" "There are luxury colonies, diplomatic centers, places with actual resources." "Because," Keldon said quietly, "you are known as someone who judges people by their actions, not their appearance. And my daughter needs that more than luxury." The doors behind him opened, and a young Valerian woman entered. She was shorter than her father, barely 6 feet, and where other Valorians moved with predatory grace, she walked carefully, almost hesitantly. Her silver skin was unmarked by battle scars. In her arms, she carried a stack of data tablets. The scholar warrior. "This is Lyra," Keldon said, his voice softening. "My youngest child." Lyra looked up, and Sarah saw intelligence burning in those silver eyes. "Station Master Martinez," she said, her accent precise. "I apologize for the intrusion. I prepared a proposal for how I might contribute to your station's operations. I've analyzed your power distribution network, water reclamation efficiency, and defensive capabilities. I believe I can improve all 3 by approximately 27%. Sarah stared. "You analyzed my station?" "During our approach. I hope you don't mind. I find analysis calming." Lyra offered a small smile. "I'm not like other Valorians. I prefer solving problems to creating them." Keldon placed a hand on his daughter's shoulder. "In our culture, warriors are everything. Lyra excels at strategy, engineering, mathematics. She scored highest in her generation on every academic test. But she has no interest in combat, no desire for glory. She solves problems with her mind, not her blade." "So you're sending her away because she's too smart?" Sarah's anger kindled. "The council sees her as defective," Keldon said, pain cracking through his warrior's mask. "They say a true Valerian would rather die in battle than live in peace. They've given her 2 choices: enter the blood trials, where she will certainly die, or accept permanent exile. A station master's decision." Sarah looked at Lyra, who stood quietly, holding her data tablets like shields. The young woman was trembling slightly, but her eyes were steady. "What do you want?" Sarah asked her directly. "I want to be useful," Lyra said simply. "I want to solve problems. I want to build things instead of destroying them. And I want to live." She paused. Is that cowardice? No, Sarah said firmly. That's sanity. You can stay. Keldon's eyes widened. Just like that? You don't want compensation? We can pay. I don't want your money. Sarah turned to face him fully. But I want answers. If she's so valuable, why exile her? Why not let her serve your people her own way? Because our culture is dying, Keldon said quietly. We've been warriors for 3,000 years. We've conquered, we've dominated, we've bled. And now we're realizing that honor doesn't build civilizations. It doesn't advance technology or solve resource crises or negotiate peace. But admitting that would mean admitting our entire way of life is obsolete. He looked at his daughter with something that might have been grief. Lyra represents everything we're terrified of becoming. She's proof that perhaps there's a better way. And we're too proud to accept it. The first night. After the Valerian ships departed, Sarah found Lyra in the observation deck, staring at the stars. Your father loves you, Sarah said, joining her at the window. I know. That's why he sent me away. Lyra's voice was soft. If I'd stayed, I would have been forced into the trials. I would have died trying to prove I'm something I'm not. This way, I get to live. Even if it means never going home. Sarah thought about her own reasons for building a station at the edge of nowhere. Everyone here was running from something. Home isn't a place, Sarah said. It's people who see you for who you are. Give us a chance. Maybe we can be that for you. Unexpected complications. The next morning, Sarah's second-in-command, James Park, burst into her quarters. We've got a problem, he said. Big one. In the command center, the screens showed 6 more ships approaching. These bore the silver and blue of the Valerian Council. The transmission came through, cold and official. Salvage Station Kepler 442, you are harboring a fugitive from Valerian justice. Surrender Lyra, daughter of Keldon, or face immediate military action. You have 1 hour to comply. Sarah looked at Lyra, who'd gone pale but stood straight. I'll turn myself in, the young Valerian said. I won't let you all suffer for my cowardice. Sit down, Sarah ordered. Nobody's surrendering anybody. But they'll destroy the station. 43 people. Will make their own choices. Sarah opened the station-wide channel. Attention all personnel. We've got Valerian warships demanding we hand over our newest resident. They're threatening violence if we don't comply. I'm putting it to a vote. Everyone meet in the central hub in 5 minutes. Democracy's messy, but it's better than honor. The choice. The central hub filled quickly. Sarah explained the situation, and for a moment, nobody spoke. Then Marcus, an old miner who'd lost an arm in a tunnel collapse, cleared his throat. I came here because everywhere else looked at my missing arm and saw a liability. Sarah saw someone who could still work, still contribute. She gave me a chance when nobody else would. He looked at Lyra. Seems to me, we've got a choice. We can be like everyone else, sacrificing people to save ourselves. Or we can be what this station's always been, a place where people get second chances. I vote we tell those warships to take a long walk out a short airlock. One by one, the votes came in. 43 people, each with their own reasons for being here, each remembering the moment someone had seen their value when the rest of the universe saw only flaws. The vote was unanimous. Standing ground. Sarah opened a channel to the Valerian fleet. This is Station Master Martinez. Your request is denied. Lyra has committed no crime except refusing to die for someone else's definition of honor. She stays with us. The response was immediate, you have no military capability. We will destroy your station within minutes. Maybe, Sarah agreed. But every transmission, every sensor reading, every piece of data about this encounter is being broadcast to 47 news networks across 6 sectors. So ask yourself, do you want the universe watching the mighty Valerian collective slaughter 43 unarmed civilians because one woman chose books over swords? The silence stretched for 30 seconds. Then, this isn't over. Probably not, Sarah said. But it's over for today. The warships held position for another hour, then withdrew. In the observation deck, Lyra was crying. You risked everything for me. Why? Sarah shrugged. Because honor isn't about dying gloriously. It's about living well and treating people with dignity. Your people forgot that. We're just reminding them. The war without weapons. 6 months of peace. Life on the station found a new rhythm. Lyra proved herself invaluable, upgrading systems Sarah hadn't even known were inefficient. The power network ran at 94% optimization. Water reclamation improved by 33%. The defensive grid, which had been a patchwork of salvaged components, became something resembling actual protection. But more importantly, Lyra bloomed. The nervous, trembling woman who'd arrived 6 months ago had been replaced by someone confident, curious, eager to learn. She asked questions constantly, helped with repairs, and made terrible jokes in 3 languages. She fit. Sarah found her one evening in the engineering bay, surrounded by holographic projections of quantum mathematics. What are you working on? Sarah asked. FTL efficiency improvements, Lyra said absently. If we adjust the dimensional field generators by 0.3%, we could reduce travel time by 12% with no additional power consumption. She looked up, excited. I think I can revolutionize space travel, Sarah. I just need time and resources to test my theories. Your people would kill for technology like that. My people would kill for a parking space, Lyra said drily. That's the problem. I want to build. They want to conquer. The ambassador's arrival. The ship arrived without warning 3 weeks later. It wasn't a warship, but a diplomatic vessel bearing the seal of the Valerian High Council itself. The ambassador, war philosopher Zethan, was ancient by Valerian standards, his silver skin covered in intricate scar patterns that told a story of centuries of battle. But his eyes were sharp, assessing. Station Master Martinez, he said formally. I request a diplomatic audience. They met in Sarah's office, Lyra seated beside her. The council has sent me to make you an offer, Zethan began. Return Lyra, and we will provide your station with advanced technology, trade agreements, and diplomatic protection. You will want for nothing. And if we refuse? Sarah asked. Then you will receive nothing. No trade, no protection, no contact with Valerian space. His gaze shifted to Lyra. Child, you've had your rebellion. It's time to come home. The council has agreed to spare you the blood trials. You can serve the collective in a support capacity, using your technical skills. A scholar's worth. Lyra leaned forward. In what capacity? Maintaining weapons systems. Optimizing warship efficiency. Supporting our military operations with your analytical capabilities. So I still serve war. Just from behind a desk instead of a battlefield. War is what we are, Zethan said simply. It's what we've always been. You cannot change 3,000 years of culture because you wish it were different. Maybe she can't, Sarah interjected. But she can choose not to participate. That's called free will, and it's something you people seem to have forgotten. Zethan's expression hardened. You're teaching her to be weak. I'm teaching her to be herself, Sarah shot back. Which is something you never bothered trying. The true threat. Zethan stood. Then you've made your choice. But understand this, your little station exists only because we allow it. We could crush you in an instant. But you won't, Lyra said quietly. Both Sarah and Zethan turned to look at her. Because if you did, you'd prove everything I've been saying. That Valerian honor is just violence dressed in pretty words. That you're not warriors fighting for justice, but bullies who can't admit the universe has moved beyond you. Her voice strengthened. You need me to come back because I'm proof that there's another way. Every day I stay here, happy and productive and alive, I demonstrate that your entire culture is a choice, not a destiny. And that terrifies you more than any enemy fleet. Zethan's jaw tightened. You think you found a better way? Living in this salvage heap, barely scraping by? Yes, Lyra said simply. Because I'm free. And that's worth more than all the glory in the galaxy. An ultimatum. The ambassador left, but his parting words echoed, the council will not forget this insult. There will be consequences. 2 months later, the consequences arrived. The Valerian Collective announced new trade restrictions. Any station or colony providing resources to Kepler 442 would lose Valerian trade access. Within weeks, Sarah's supply lines dried up. Food shipments stopped. Replacement parts became impossible to obtain. Medical supplies dwindled. The station began to starve. I have to turn myself in, Lyra said during an emergency crew meeting. They're punishing you because of me. They're punishing us because we're showing them what they're afraid to admit, Sarah countered. That there's another way to live. But people are suffering. Children are going hungry because of their protection of me. James spoke up. Those children's parents voted to keep you here. Every one of us knew there might be consequences. We chose this. You shouldn't have to sacrifice for me. It's not sacrifice, Marcus said. It's investment. You've improved this station more in 6 months than we managed in 6 years. You're worth fighting for. The unexpected ally. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. A transmission arrived from War Master Keldon, Lyra's father. My daughter, his voice was strained. I've spent months gathering support within the fleet. Not everyone agrees with the Council's tactics. Some of us remember what honor truly means. The image shifted to show dozens of Valerian ships, but these bore new markings, a broken blade crossed with an open book. We're calling ourselves the Reformed Blades, Keldon continued. Warriors who believe strength comes in many forms. We're breaking from the collective. And we're prepared to ensure your station receives the supplies it needs. Sarah stared at the screen. You're starting a civil war because of us? No, Keldon said. You're giving us an excuse to start a conversation we should have had centuries ago. My daughter's courage in choosing her own path has inspired others to question ours. Change is coming to the Valerian Collective, Station Master Martinez. You helped plant the seeds. 2 roads diverging. Over the next year, the Valerian Collective began to fracture. The Reformed Blades grew in number as more warriors questioned a culture that valued death over life, glory over growth. Trade routes opened. Diplomatic channels buzzed with debate. And in the center of it all, Lyra worked quietly in her laboratory, developing the FTL improvements that would eventually revolutionize space travel. She published her research freely, refusing to weaponize knowledge. One evening, Sarah found her in the observation deck again, watching distant stars. Your father offered you a position with the Reformed Blades, Sarah said. A chance to go home. I know. Lyra smiled. I told him no. This is home now. Don't stay just for us. If you want. Sarah. Lyra turned to face her. 6 months ago, I was ready to die rather than be forced into a life I didn't want. You gave me something I'd never had, the freedom to choose who I want to be. That's not a debt I owe. That's a gift I want to honor. She gestured at the stars. Besides, I'm happy here. I get to solve problems, help people, and occasionally make terrible jokes that make Marcus groan. What empire could offer me that? The legacy. 5 years later, salvage station Kepler 442 had transformed. It was now a research hub, home to 200 residents, and a symbol of something larger, the idea that value comes in many forms, that honor means respecting choice, and that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is live authentically rather than die gloriously. Lyra had become chief of research, her FTL innovations adopted across 50 star systems. She'd also become Sarah's closest friend, her sister in all but blood. The Valerian Collective still existed, but it had changed. The reformed blades had forced conversations about what strength really meant. Warrior academies now included engineering programs. Battle hymns shared space with scientific journals. And at the heart of it all was a simple truth: one young woman's refusal to be something she wasn't had shown an entire civilization what they could become. "Do you ever regret it?" Sarah asked one evening, as they watched a new transport ship dock, bringing supplies and new residents. "Giving up an empire?" Lyra laughed. "I didn't give up an empire, Sarah. I found something better. I found people who saw me as I am and decided that was enough." She squeezed Sarah's shoulder. "Besides, empires fall. But family? Family endures." In the distance, the stars burned bright, and in a small salvage station at the edge of nowhere, 43 people who'd become 200 had proved something the universe desperately needed to learn: that the greatest strength isn't the ability to conquer, but the courage to choose your own path and help others find theirs. The choice that changed everything. The human instinct to see value in others, to judge people by their character rather than their conformity, had shifted the balance of an entire civilization. Not through war or conquest, but through simple, stubborn compassion. Sarah had taken in a refugee because it was the right thing to do. Lyra had chosen to live authentically because it was the brave thing to do. And together, they'd shown the universe that sometimes the most revolutionary act is simply refusing to accept that things must be as they've always been. The Valerian collective would never be the same. And that was exactly the point.